his advantage instead of feeling the pressure from it.
Yeah, I mean, that's such a difficult thing to do, but he did it, and you have to assume that Vitor was thinking that the entire time. Every single hog hit was, whoa, coming from the crowd, and that is just so tough when you are his opponent.
And the predictions from Ian were absolutely beautiful, whether it was looking for, you know, the Skellies to block the Fish Boy, whether it was the EQ on top of the Skarmy, everything was just so clean. Or even predicting that your opponent's gonna play something like a Mother Witch and then defending differently. So you play your comfort, you play it perfectly. You see here in game number 1, this is exactly what he was just talking about. What a great matchup here, AC.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, he learned quickly on, I can't use the Minion Horde, I have to use the Skeleton King for every single drill, and I go aggressive with the Skarmy, the Ghost, and the Mortar. I mean, it just went to perfection in both of those games, but especially game number 1. This is a weird matchup. It's not one that you can just tell right off the bat, this player is gonna win. It's kind of 50-50 who's gonna play it better. And I mean, game 1, we saw him play it better. Game 2, we saw him play it perfect.
So now 3 players have been eliminated, and that's the name of the game. We are huge fans of Vitor, but his run does come to an end here in 2025, along with Frontier Guard and OP Sam. Next up, we have Lucas X Gamer going against a former world champion in Casualty/Igor. Of course, winning that world championship back in 2019 with Team Liquid. And this is a very steep match as well. I mean, we were talking about it on broadcast yesterday. It's crazy because even if you win in round 1, you can still be up for elimination in that first lower bracket round.
Yeah, I mean, it's so brutal, and you know, that's how these tournaments are. You know, you just have to be okay. If something goes against my way, you know what? I'll deal with it. I'll get into that next game. Lucas and Igor. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I am very excited about this, and of course, there's only one way to go from here, and that is to get our players out on stage in just a moment. But this was a very good way to start our day.
There's no better way. I mean, just Ian, I love his interview. I mean, his interview was making me tear up, and I was like, I have to go back on camera.
Yeah, absolutely. So here we go. Let's take a look at what just happened here in game number 1.
Yo, what's up? Alright. Now it's working.
I'm CRL caster Rich Slayton here with the 2-time Clash Royale League World Champion, Mugi. Mugi, there's only been 2 solo world champions in CRL history, you and Mohamed Light. Why do you think that is, and what sets you two apart?
モハメド・ライトと僕は、オフラインでの勝負強さとかもそうだと思うんですけど、やはり常に冷静でプレイできるのは個人的には強みかなと感じてます。
Mugi, you have the chance to be the only 3-time world champion in the history of this game. Do you give any thought to your legacy in Clash Royale?
自身が初めての3度目のチャンピオンになるために、すごいやっぱそれは個人的にも大きなものだと感じるので、絶対に取りたいと思っています。
You have a reputation amongst other pros for grinding the least out of all the top players. Is that true, and how do you view that?
最も練習が少ないという噂は昔は多分本当だったんですけど、今は自分的にはすごい努力をして頑張ってると思ってはいます。
Do you have anything to say to all of your opponents?
対戦相手に対しての一言は絶対に勝ちます。
Thanks, Mugi, so much for being here, and we can't wait to see you compete.
Introducing a 5-time world finalist. It's his 5th seed for CRL World Finals 2025. Everyone, give it up for Lucas! And his opponent, it's his first live appearance since
It's just Jared.
2019. And he's the infamous Mortar Master. Everyone, give it up for Igor!
And what a fascinating matchup we have in front of us when you look at Lucas and Igor. Lucas, of course, so much emotion we see on stage. Igor completely devoid of anything that looks like feeling out here. And when you talk about play styles, though, I think they're actually a lot closer.
Yeah, I mean, they're very similar. It's, you know, quick cycle. I want to outplay my opponent. And that's exactly what both of those players do. They want to embarrass their opponents. Lucas, his first set, that's kind of what he did. He dominated in that first set. His second set yesterday, he didn't do as well. We're going to see which Lucas shows up. And then Igor, we know he can show up. We know he can do everything that we have been talking about. He just hasn't shown it yet.
Here's the big question I have for you, Josh, as we saw an uncharacteristically poor performance from Igor yesterday. The multiple missed logs on the drill playing defense, whether it be not used to the kind of shift in damage or just out of practice or just nervous here in front of this big rowdy crowd. I'm wondering if we see a repeat of what Lucas did last year in some of his games, especially against Pedro, where he played bait, he played fast stuff, forced his opponent who had nerves to maybe make some mistakes and put that same kind of pressure on Igor here today.
Yeah, I think that's a phenomenal choice if Lucas does go that way. Igor on the other side, like, you know, it's just crazy to use the word nerves when looking at his face. I don't believe it, but at the same time, I still love that choice from Lucas. I want him to go as quick as possible, make his opponent use as many cards, and just try and outplay.
Well, you know, when you think about nerves, we can go back to a few other players who didn't appear nervous. Mohamed Light used to talk about his nerves that he had that we just couldn't see on stage.
That's true.
Or back to 2023, a similarly stoic personality in Sosa, who was actually a bundle of nerves in that 2023 campaign. So what's on the outside doesn't always tell us a story of what's happening on the inside. Of course, what's happening back behind stage is also another important conversation because both of these players here without coaches, not working with teams or analysts to figure out those picks. And I know that on one side, Lucas is preparing a lot. I don't know what Igor's doing, and that's why I'm going to guess. Let me go ahead and get your prediction out here. I'm going to guess that you're going with...
I mean,
there we go.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
there we
that's
go.
me.
All right, and
That's
you
me.
are going with
Yep.
Lucas, and
All
then
right.
I'm guessing, yeah, I'm going with Lucas as well. It's just I can't go against Lucas. We're all going Lucas. He showcased a lot of great things. Now it's time to see what the audience, what the community is going to be saying, and I'm gonna say it's probably gonna be another one of those 70-30s. I think Lucas has to be the favorite.
That's my guess. Let's see it. And 63-37
Wow.
for Lucas over Igor. And look, Igor, when he is at his best, is one of the most frightening Clash Royale pros on the planet.
Yep.
All-time #1 ladder player, although maybe Mo is starting to take that away as he's putting multiple accounts in the top 10 regularly. I told him last night when I saw him, Mohamed, I think it's time for 4 in the top 10 at the same time. Has he done 4 yet? Maybe, has he done 5?
It's close. It's close. I know there was one time where it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, but then I think the final day, like he lost 2 accounts, and it's like, oh, only 2 in the top 10. What are we doing here?
Well, of course, Igor's used to that pressure. The question is whether he's comfortable with the pressure he has here right now. That's the big one. We saw him stand up to the biggest pressure ever in 2019, but that was years ago. Now we're here, Atlanta, DreamHack. Back against the wall, no teammates to help you out. It's win or go home. Let's get it going. Game number 1, Lucas and Igor. And there's maybe a hint of a smile,
That's
or
what-
was that
yeah.
chewing from Igor? I wasn't quite sure which.
Yeah, it must have been accidental. It must have been a chew.
So no shockers here. Minor from Igor to open things up. Lucas went to the front, gonna go ahead and get the pickup, but take a little bit of chip damage on the left-hand side as the Berserker finishes off the helmeted one.
Yeah, and Igor's going to do the same thing that Pedro was doing with these off-center. You know, usually you go right on top of the tower, going just an extra tile off to try and get some of those troops to walk away.
And Miner right to the Dark Goblin. And this is, this is big. We're starting to see Igor maybe make some more of his style of plays. We've already seen today one player get over the nerves and make a big comeback and a big stand on stage with Ian.
Yeah,
oh boy.
Yeah, and right there, both of the wall breakers are going to connect. The bar barrel doesn't do enough damage. It's just one of those weird interactions. There's so many small interactions with with the wall breakers where you're like, of course this is going to take it out. There's no way, and then they just still get to tower.
Igor sitting on his elixir a little bit, waiting for his opponent to make the move.
And then Lucas choosing to run, that 1.9 elixir bait deck, I don't think that should be legal in my opinion, so I'm glad to see that he's going to be using a more standard variation. Evo Skellies plus Mighty Miner going to be able to lock in and take that out. Ice Spirit on the left side, and these Evo Wall Breakers plus Evo Skellies, there's a little bit of a push, but Lucas is going to defend this beautifully.
It does force out a response for the Mighty Miner. Igor switches the side. He's going to get on tower here potentially. Ice Spirit slows things down. Might get a little bit of turn of the drill, but not much damage. Double elixir on its way in a moment. Right now, it's pretty even in both lanes.
Yeah, and we see Igor shake his head. I would have liked to see that up and hut just one tile lower. It would have allowed the Dark Goblin to be able to walk in, have the Crown Tower take it out. Instead, Dark Goblin gets 4 or 5 shots, and now Lucas takes the lead all the way back.
Igor a little heavier in this deck, getting the Mighty Miner up front. Goblin Hut now placed in that low position.
And that's going to be perfect right there. Mighty Miner to try and finish off the Dark Goblin. 1886, lowest tower for Lucas. 1593, lowest tower for Igor. And really, the game is close, but so far Lucas has played a much cleaner game.
Split on the Evo barrel. Let's see how Igor handles it. Takes a ton of damage on the left-hand side. Oh my word.
Yeah, and I think that might have been Evo Skellies or something taken out right there. 9 seconds, almost to OT, and Lucas is just dominating. He's just playing this so much better than Igor is so far.
Miner working for Igor. One wall breaker trying to make it, does connect. Bar barrel down. And the hut drop behind. Had to be a misclick. That's it. Lucas takes game number 1.
Yeah, Lucas dominated the entire time. He was so clever with his bar barrels. He was always placing them in different tile placements, making it difficult for Igor. Usually when you're playing against bait and you have the bar barrel, you don't have to think. It's just, okay, they're not gonna do too many things. Not once did Lucas play the bar or the goblin barrel in the same position. He was always making it difficult, always another thing to think about. And I loved Lucas's gameplay from game number 1.
And I love seeing what he did here, going with this really fast cycle
just what
bait
we're
deck
talking about.
to put the pressure on Igor. And we saw the cracks begin to show as some of those mistakes were uncharacteristic. And I believe he's here. Hazard, aka Busby, once said years ago, mistakes beget mistakes, and we saw that here.
Yeah, Igor definitely needs to figure something out, and we all know he can absolutely do it. This is game number 1 overall. Lucas going to be running a little bit tankier version of Logbait, and I love this variation. It allows you to just have so many options. It feels like your opponent is going to be running a deck that's 3.5, 3.7 elixir or lower, so you want the Berserker, you want the Valk, you want that strong defense, and then on the other side, Igor's just not enough. Maybe the Minions version would have been a little bit better, the one that Pedro ran, I believe against Lucas, yes.
Well, the big question here is, where does Igor go in game number 2? Last time he went to Royal Giant in game 2 in his first round matchup, and that was the best success he had. That was his 1 win, but I really don't want him going there again because you know that Lucas is coming to cover Royal Giant.
Yeah, and going against Lucas when he's running RG, that's a scary task. It's clear that he's very well versed in that matchup. He's well versed with anything using RG. So just RG really scares me. I don't know what I'm feeling because Miner's out. I'd like to see Mortar really.
Yeah, I mean, you want to see it, but of course, then you have that concern. You go back and forth. My suspicion here is that Lucas might go RG Lightning, right? That he might try to go for a big snipe here, but then you get into Igor running Mortar, and that's actually a good choice for him.
Yeah, and I mean, really, if you're Lucas, you're just trying to hard counter that deck twice. You're not going to allow him to do it. It doesn't matter how nervous he is. Once a Mortar is in his hands, he's just going to play it perfectly.
Well, both players taking their time, getting themselves ready, and I think we are just moments away. Game number 2, here we go. Not sure who Igor is talking to, but you see a few words there. And both players really slow. No one making the first move.
Yeah, not sure if the production team is the best coach, but
Guard cycle. Lucas shows the Baby Dragon.
seeing Baby Dragon, you kind of automatically assume that it's going to be E-Giant. Igor on the other side. Oh, and he's going to be running P.E.K.K.A. Feels like it's one of the first P.E.K.K.As that we've seen in this tournament.
And Graveyard for Igor here. E-Spirit to cover.
Yeah,
And Valk not in range.
Beautiful timing with the E-Spirit. E-Wiz coming as well for Lucas. Takes about 600 damage. And Igor just going to set up the defense with a Goblin Cage.
And that's a big Inferno Dragon, especially with the Electro Wiz covered. Gonna burn that all the way down, I believe. Ooh. And there you go.
Yeah.
Big defense for Igor.
Gorgeous Ice Spirit right there. I was so worried that it was going to get out of the range of the Inferno Dragon. Instead, just inside, Inferno Dragon cleans up everything. Yeah, and he's taking no damage. That was a perfect start to the game for Igor.
First 90 seconds away. So far, so good for the former Team Liquid hero. Wasn't able to play for that squad for the entire year. Couldn't get his way over to the States. I think he might have still been underage to play in the league, but at the time, Liquid coach Eric Benamou signed him anyway, with the plan being we'll need him at Worlds. Ran a 3-man squad, right? With just Canario, Surgical Goblin, and Diego B. And they made it all the way, and then Igor showed up as a rookie and got it done.
And right here, Inferno Dragon on top of the P.E.K.K.A. again. Lucas trying to save up the Lightning and not going to. That's just going to be a really easy defense for Igor. See if he wants to defend this Baby Dragon. Baby Dragon does get the splash, so a little bit of a mistime right there. And that's going to get the left tower down to 2569. Full reset for Igor, setting up with the Goblin Cage.
Guards, yeah, pressure on the left-hand side here. Force out the Ghost early.
Yeah, I really like what Lucas is doing. He's allowing Igor to just, he's just forcing Igor to cycle. He had to go guards at the bridge. You obviously want those guards for those P.E.K.K.As.
And this is a big Lightning. Trying to get the Ram Rider breakthrough, but an absolute traffic jam at the bridge. And the snowball unnecessary. Some wasted elixir on Igor's part. This is going to give a big advantage to Lucas as we move into the sudden death period.
Yeah, those are just some of those small mistakes that we've seen. Inferno Dragon up high, E-Wiz in cycle, so going to be able to defend that very easily. Igor just looks like he was trying to cycle. It wasn't anything too cute. And right here, let's see if the Evil Valk can go to work.
Pulling everything together. E-Wiz gets a couple of big hits on the right-hand side. 90 seconds left, and still we are razor thin.
Yeah, at this point, it's just so difficult for Igor to set up an offensive attack. It just feels like it's defense, defense, defense ever since that opening push.
But here we go. Maybe going to go on the right-hand side. Valk pressuring. No, goes Graveyard left-hand lane. And this is where you can start getting dangerous, right? Triple elixir. You can put some Graveyards out, take some risks.
Yeah, I'd like to see some sort of push build. I'm not exactly sure why he went on the right side and then went with the Graveyard in the left. Inferno Dragon plus the Valk plus the Snowball should be able to defend that pretty nicely, but does need to go with guards, and he will. The right tower now lowered down to 1706.
Igor can switch lanes here, but Lucas in a good spot. Not a big lead though, 1706 to 1815, 40 seconds left.
And it's interesting to see how all these P.E.K.K.A. decks, it's no longer the Evo P.E.K.K.A. You're trying to get those support troops to be your Evos. 1815, 1706, 30 seconds left to determine if this is going to a game 3.
Ram Rider playing defense against the Graveyard. Not a lot getting through here. Ram Rider trying to make it. The Evo Valk goes down. Cage into hold. Snowball trying to stop the Ram Rider. Ram Rider will connect. And now another one on the right-hand side. That's an absolutely huge push. 10 seconds left. That Ram Rider should connect here. Cage to stop. Igor needs to get on tower. Lightning puts the damage in. That's gonna be it. Lucas gets it done in 2. And a shake of the hands and an inauspicious end to Igor's 2025 campaign. And Lucas staying in the mix. Scary for everybody out there.
Yeah, if Lucas wins game number 1, he's winning game number 2. That's what we're seeing. And, you know, we need to learn more about his thoughts. Let's send it down to Juice and Lucas.
What a match. Just talk to me how you're feeling after a very intense game 1 of day 2.
I think I feel relieved. I didn't really sleep much. Either didn't sleep well today, so I think it's a relief to win game 1. I hope I can get momentum and keep the momentum going.
Yeah, I mean, talk to me about like all the stuff that's going behind the scenes, because that's what really interests me. You know, when it comes to deck building, deck picking, stuff like that. Like, how are you preparing in that sort of aspect of this match?
I sort of try to pretend I'm them, try to, you know, think what they could think I could do, try to self-scout, try to scout them as well. There's the stage factor that you got to consider. Not everything is how it looks online, so if I get like a 40-60 matchup here and I'm in a comfortable position and they are not, I just might win. So it's been intense though, because doing everything alone is kind of, it's a bit too much, especially in a day 2 full of games. So I should be analyzing over 7 players here if everything goes well. Should be a long day though.
Awesome, yo, one more time, give it up for Lucas. Some great matches all around.
And definitely you see some of these players who have support maybe a bit more relaxed. We've seen Lucas quite a lot. Of course, Spirit's always pretty good, but I have noticed as we've gotten deeper into this week and now deeper into today, the mood's starting to tense up a little bit, and Lucas puts it right there. It's a lot of work. It's going to be a long day, especially doing it all on your lonesome.
Yeah, I've never seen him act that way. Just kind of wishing that he had more help. He always likes to be that lone wolf. I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to figure this out. So it's really interesting to see. And, you know, it's not too late. You can pick up an analyst. You can pick up a coach. So we're going to see if he wants to do that over the course of the weekend or if he's going to continue to do it by himself. Here's game number 2, and I loved what he was doing. He was setting up the P.E.K.K.A.s in the back. He was trying to cycle the Ghost, the Baby Dragon, and really, once he got the triple elixir, I mean, Igor, there was just nothing he could do. Lucas was so... He was just dominating the field, and he was sending so many troops out there. Igor just never had the opportunity to go with the push.
Well, you see the Dart Goblin gone, you see the Double Spirits out, you see the Valkyrie gone, and you see some openings potentially for Graveyard. And with how thin this was in those waning moments, obviously there was a big push that went downhill and blew things up, but it felt like that was more the dam breaking than anything else. It feels like Igor did have a real shot at winning, or at least making this more competitive a few times in game 2.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a brilliant idea from him. It just didn't work out. And unfortunately, Igor is getting sent home. Here is the bracket overall, and wow, this bracket's starting to get real good, real tight.
Yeah, now we're down to our top 8. Of course, Mohamed, Sub, Adriel, and Pedro. But now we have Lucas and Ian matching up in their next round. That's going to be an absolute blast. Love seeing these two players. And then coming up very soon, we're going to have Mugi and Sandbox. So everyone's taking those big steps closer. Again, when we get to the end of the day, we'll be down to our final 3. So a lot left to get through and a lot more people ending their trip right here at what has been such an amazing event, DreamHack Atlanta. We've got so much stuff going on. There's artist booths, there's creators. If you want to buy a really oversized sword, they have tons of those over there.
Where is it?
Yeah, it's that way.
Okay,
There's
just that way.
oversized swords all over. So it's a whole lot of fun here. And of course, as we've said before, one of the best crowds I've ever seen for a Clash Royale League, all here enjoying this amazing event that we get to do right here in Atlanta. And Josh, you know, I'm wondering if these guys will have a chance to actually see some of this city, as it's been such a warm and welcoming place for us.
Yeah, I mean, a beautiful city, a beautiful disc golf course as well.
Sure.
Yeah, I hurt my leg doing that. Just so much walking.
Well, we've got our next matchup coming up very soon. Don't go anywhere. Sandbox and Mugi after this.
With the meta changing so much right now, how do you feel that it either strengthens or weakens your play?
많은 사람들이 저를 보고 샌드박스는 빅덱밖에 못 쓰는 거 아니냐라고 말을 많이 했는데, 저는 원래부터 사이클 덱을 워낙 잘 썼던 플레이어였던 만큼 전 딱히 메타 변화에 상관이 없습니다.
He's the first ever two-time world champion, trying to make it 3 in 2025. Give it up for Mugi!
This kid's a cornball.
He's already faced off against 2 world champions. Why not make it 3 to keep his dream run going? Give it up for Sandbox!
Rich Slayton here, joined by Jackson Juicy J. Wall. And Jackson, glad to have you back on the desk. This is an interesting matchup, right? Because this is another one of those that we see where on paper everyone will be picking Mugi. I'm guessing predictions are going to come in pretty heavily for Mugi. But we've seen Sandbox buck the trend. He talked about not wanting to be thought of as a beat-down, heavy deck player. He's primarily played and been primarily successful with those cycle decks today.
Yeah, I mean, he does a great job of controlling the match. You know, I feel like he kind of slowly but surely made his way, right? You know, he was known for stuff like Splash Yard and Electro Giant, and then he kind of used his skills in Splash Yard, converted it to Minor Poison, and continues to make his decks cheaper and cheaper as he becomes not only a control player, but a cycle control player.
Nice go, dude.
Well, speaking on the other side of things, Mugi, of course, known as this big cycle player, but the piece of success he had yesterday in the loss against Adriel was with E-Giant.
Right, yeah, that's interesting. When I was researching both of these players, like they both played E-Giant yesterday, and once again, they're both very good at RNG as well, where you kind of have that mid-tier kind of deck, control deck. So it'll be really interesting to see either one of those mirror matches. It could be wild.
And you can see the head-to-head data on these two throughout the year. 16-11 in favor of Mugi, but of course you have that very critical win for Sandbox in the finals of the Kalalas Cup, that 2-0 win. So Sandy able to get the better of Mugi in some places, and this will also be a big question about that preparation. We've talked about this a bit before. Tight, a long-time coach, but the question is, will he remain unpredictable or be easy to read for Sandbox and his team today? And let's see what you at home are thinking about this matchup. Will it be Mugi? Will it be Sandbox? Here we go, and our viewer votes coming in just one moment.
Yeah, speaking of predictions, here we have the community predictions. Mugi at a 67%, Sandbox sitting at 33. I feel like this is kind of, you know, what a lot of people are thinking. Sandbox obviously still has a really good chance, but once again, a 2-time world champion on stage, it's just really tough to go against.
Yeah, it's it's always difficult. Let's go ahead and take a look at our predictions now. So first up, let's go ahead and see what my buddy Jackson has over here. He's picking Moogie on this one. Now let's go ahead and see what I picked. I think I might buck the trend. That's right. I am picking Sandy.
Okay.
I like what Game Saver's been doing here. I like what he's doing with Sandbox specifically. He's a guy who needs to go for snipes against some of these big guys. Saver has been swinging, Sandbox has been hitting, and looks like Andrew's on my side and Josh going along with you, Juice.
Yeah, I talked to Josh beforehand as well. You know, we just picked Moogie based on his experience. Talking to Frontier Guard after losing to Moogie in day one, he was just like, you know, I can go on stage, I can do my best, but in the end, I'm going against a world champ, and that experience on stage is like none other.
Yeah, it certainly is. Of course, we saw the experience, the skill, and the coach-player relationship of Adriel coming out on top against Moogie on day number one. So curious to see if Game Saver and Sandbox can replicate that same thing. Of course, a little difference here. We might see taking, like I said, big swings rather than going for those close matchups. But this is a big one. Again, we are in the elimination bracket. No more lives to give. Moogie, the two-time world champion, wants to stay in the hunt for 3. Sandbox wants to end it. Let's go, game number 1.
The crowd's just going wild. I love it. I love the energy here. Hogger at the bridge immediately from Sandbox to start us off.
You know, a little surprised from Sandbox to start off. I kind of thought he would be going to snipe Hog. Instead, going Hog himself.
And Moogie just going to one of his comfort decks. He's got a log bait deck of some sort. Could see as soon as he saw the guards in the Dark Gob, Sandbox kind of nodding his head, maybe kind of expecting this sort of deck. Probably has a log or a bar barrel for any sort of bait element, and most likely an Earthquake for Moogie, potentially having a mortar here.
Skelly barrel to the right-hand side. Hog push does not get sent to the outside. EQ going to work here. Hog should get a couple, at least one, and it does.
Wow, big celebrations of Sandbox. He's really
Oh my god, bro. Mega nice.
And that's what we're talking about. Earthquake and log, ready for the Dark Gob, ready for the mortars. It's a great matchup for Sandy here.
Both players slowing down a bit, letting their elixir build all the way back up. What's the key for Moogie here? This is definitely a challenging situation, but how does he win this matchup?
That's why I love to cast with you, Rich. You're always asking me the important questions. And to answer it, I would say the big thing is definitely using the opposite lane. You don't want to go same lane. What you can do is you can place your mortar high in the opposite lane and use another card to push the Hog over with anti-Earthquake. And he tries to do it here, but he has to play same.
And this Hog's gonna get one as well. There we go. That's a huge one though, down to 1207 already. Plus the Evo Firecracker connects. And that is a lot. 597 remaining. Moogie in a world of trouble, and we're just entering double elixir.
Skeleton Barrel at the bridge, trying to get the Evo back in cycle. Cannon can do a great job of defending as well. You know, once again, I'm just thinking from Moogie's perspective, how do you come back in this scenario?
Wait,
it's really
what?
tough because you have to fend
How
off
does
the
that make
Firecrackers,
sense?
The Earthquake chip, but also the Hog Rider. Sandbox is going to continue to apply lots of pressure.
Cannon card getting a little bit of defense in front of it. Trying to find a way to break through. Cannon plus Earthquake on the right-hand side to shut down his mortar. But here we go, bit of a push on the right-hand side.
He
Evo
doesn't
Skelly Barrel
have...
gonna get knocked right up close to that
He has
tower.
Pekka now.
Log
He does
clear.
not have Elixir though.
The Bar Barrel will take up the Firecracker. Really nice defense. Gimmicky
Literally no
activation
Elixir.
And utilizing the Fireball to prevent the Hog
This kid
connection.
has at
You know,
most
maybe
2
there's
Elixir.
a little bit of life in the position here for Moogie, but it's still very dire.
Antista Zap.
And that Evo Cannon gonna open things up a little bit for Sandbox. Do we expect to see
Oh my
the
god, this
Earthquake
kid's
cycle here? I mean,
corny.
getting the pre-Earthquake for the Hog Rider.
Yeah, but then the pre-Firecracker.
Oh boy.
For
GG's.
Wow, that is game. Sandbox with the nod on the head. He knows he's got the dub. Beautiful stuff all around.
Sandbox going cycle. Continuing to buck the expectations. And doing it in the biggest moments here.
Wow, I'd love to see the Sandbox signs in the crowd. We had some Korean viewers here showing up, trying to support their player. And here's the stats. Like you said, a little bit of a cheaper cycle for Sandy, and he kind of utilized that really well to not only out-cycle, but in order to pressure and also cheaply defend.
And taking a look at the decks here, Mugi playing a different variation. We saw him play Mortar against Adriel yesterday. He was playing an Arrows Skelly King variation instead of the one that we see in front of us. And he played E-Giant in that deck alongside the Hyperbait. That was part of that Hyperbait matchup. So very curious to see if he mixes things up. And a similar progression, playing a deck like this one in practice. I saw him go with Drill Rocket and also with a Royal Giant Spirit Empress deck.
Yeah, I mean, the versatility of all these players is always astounding to me. But, you know, once again, looking at this matchup as a whole, I think that, like you said, Sandbox did a great job of working with his coach in order to get a great matchup and really, you know, kind of jump the hurdle that is on stage.
And that's a big one here, right? We're starting to see Sandbox seem like he's really, really comfortable. He's talked about the nerves starting to melt away a little bit. And you know, with this big crowd here, it can make things a little bit more shaky on occasion. And some people we've seen step up to it, some blink a little bit under the lights. This is starting to feel like
Mason, dude.
Moment.
I know. I've been kind of rooting for him. I think he's really my dark horse pick for this tournament. I think he's a great chance of actually winning it all. And I think one of the biggest things that was really stopping him was his confidence. You know, seeing him backstage, I didn't see a lot of that from him. And the other thing is just momentum. But now that he's won a game off Mugi, hopping to game number 2, we are going to see a little bit more confidence, I assume, from Sandman.
And here we go. Now it's going to be Hog. This is maybe what, and Sandbox with a smile here. He might have a snipe set up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, once again, if you can predict that, you know, Mugi's going to play Hog, I'm sure GameSaver, his coach, is also very aware of such a thing. So looking at Sandbox next, we see a Queen and some cycle cards, perhaps a drill deck, maybe a minor control variation. Either way, it's going to be super solid versus Hog Rider.
Archer Queen, gonna go ahead and pop the ability. Easy damage prevention there for Mugi.
So Evo Valk, Evo Snowball, most definitely going to be Drill. And he has a Bomb Tower as well. Bomb Tower is historically really solid to deal with Hog Quake, just being a little bit tankier. I mean, you can see already, Hog is not breaking through.
Yeah, Bomb Tower, Evo Valk, Evo Snowball, even the Drill on defense if you need it. And if you look at the deck from Mugi, he has some coverage for that Drill, but not the typical splash.
Yeah, I agree. You know, you'd much rather have a Evo Ghost or even a Valkyrie instead of the Mighty Miner versus the Drill. Instead, he's going to be really trying to utilize the Log. The Log is definitely the card to look out for to really deal with those goblins. But if Sandbox can play his Evo Snowball right, he's going to be able to circumvent that defense.
Mighty Miner going to use the ability on the Archer Queen. Drill going to get in front. Queen tanking for the Drill for the moment. And that's a lot spent to cover.
Yeah, you can see just in the elixir disparity between the elixir bars, Sandbox is definitely up a lot. He's going to realize that and go for the Queen, the bridge with ability, try and apply some more pressure and cycle back to another Drill.
Sandy won against Igor with a variation on this deck yesterday. Was running guards instead of skeleton. Last card in that situation was the Poison.
Hog through with the pre-Firecracker for the Queen. We do see a Queen ability, but once again, using the Evo Snowball on defense is not something that you never want to do. It's a big win for Mugi to force that out.
Drill one direction, Hog the other. There's the Poison for Sandbox. Gets a little bit of goblin damage on that right-hand tower. But as we go into sudden death overtime, lead for the 2-time, 26-42. Add the earthquake damage in, 23-01. Will the Hog get there too?
We do see some nice queen plus snowball. The hog will not get a hit, and the Valkyrie up high to stop the firecracker as well. It's just really solid control, and now Sandbox going to be able to counter push after playing the spell first. That's what I love to see about these pros, knowing when to go spell second or first with their push.
Drill to the outside. And we're not seeing the same difficulty we saw from Igor in this matchup with the log on the drill timing.
Mighty ability does decent amount of damage to the queen, and a barbarian bolt to protect. It's a very common idea to try to defend your queen on the counter pushes.
And you saw the attempted prediction probably on skeletons with the snowball there. Might have been a prediction on a firecracker or either way, but snowball to nowhere. Now drill in with the poison.
Oof. Evo snowball drops, and the
That's a lot of
goblins have
damage.
free reign. Free reign on the tower. Wow.
Both guys delivering big blows in the final minute.
Sandbox with a nice prediction queen ability on for the firecracker as well. He's really feeling good. That first game momentum is really showing itself here.
Bomb towers are just shutting down these hogs. Can Mugi find a way to outcycle?
We see an early queen ability again, once again, preparing for a firecracker, and then a Valkyrie as well to deal with. And the Barbarian connects the Evo Cracker as well.
Drill in, cannon in front. Poison there as well. Pretty decent hold from Mugi, preserving the possibility, but this is feeling difficult. Is this the end for Mugi in 2025? Hog up the middle, pre-log for the Skellies. Snowball pushes it back, and that's it. Sandbox has done it. 2 world champions down for Sandy.
Unbelievable. Wow, and you can just see the relief on Sandbox's face. He's just beat a 2-time world champ, and he made it look easy. Like you said, he worked with his coach, got some great tech picks, and then utilized those advantages perfectly in order to secure the win.
Luck is work and preparation. Sandy made his own luck. Let's go down to the floor where Andrew Guy is standing by with our winner.
All right, Sandbox, you've already faced off against every former world champion in the competition. You've taken out 2 of them already. How do you feel being the underdog has been giving you an advantage in these situations?
이제 3명의 세계 챔피언들과 그 게임을 해주시는데 언더독이란 위치가 도움이 됐다고 생각하시나요?
다른 사람들이 언더독이라고 해도 모하메드만 아니면 저는 언더독이 아니라고 생각하기 때문에 이길 수 있었던 것 같습니다.
I don't know how other people view me, but I personally think I was the only underdog under Mohammed. With other competitors, I didn't think I was an underdog.
Love the confidence there, and the crowd loves it too. You've already played through 2 elimination matches. Every match here on out is going to be an elimination match. You got to go through a lower bracket run. Talk to me about managing that pressure.
이미 2번의 탈락전에서 이기셨는데 그런 압박감을 어떻게 이겨내셨는지.
저의 코치인 게임 제트 세이버가 넌 할 수 있다고 해줘서 이겨낼 수 있었던 것 같습니다.
My coach always tells me that you can do it, and he's the one who gave me the most confidence.
He's got a great coach. Give it up for Sandbox!
Love seeing the success for Sandbox on this stage. And again, we're talking about the preparation, coming in ready to get it done. But you have to also talk about that mentality. And Sandbox now finally seems to be in a winner's mentality.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, this is the confidence that he needs to propel him through the lower bracket. Looking at battle deck number 2 here, once again, it was a kind of a reverse. Mugi took the Hog EQ, but Sandbox was completely ready for it. The Barbarian Barrel, one of the best counters, the Firecracker, the Bomb Tower preparing for the defense of the Hog, as well as the Snowball. Whenever Mugi had the chance to outcycle that Bomb Tower, it was always a Queen plus Snowball for no hits plus a counter push.
Yeah, that was absolutely huge. And We saw Sandbox use those counter pushes very effectively, trying to layer his attack, and then when he finally started getting those the drill plus poison cooking over and over again, he pulled away.
Yeah, it was impressive stuff. I mean, just a great 2-0 sweep here. We'd love to see the gameplay coming in from Sandman. Looking at number 1 once again, you know, it was another just really solid matchup. It was just Hog EQ versus Mortar. Maybe if Moogie had a secondary win condition, like a Miner or something a little bit more consistent, he would have a chance to break through. But with just Mortar and Skeleton Barrel, Sandbox defense was just simply too locked down.
You know, one of the interesting things about that second game matchup was the inability to outcycle the bomb tower and then also being covered by that Snowball plus Archer Queen. How impactful do you think the no longer having 3-card cycle was on that?
Yeah, I think that it's a big thing, right? Like the no 3-card cycle makes it so you just can't get through those bomb towers and those quick cycle decks. Instead, you try to rely on cycling multiple Mighty Miners for pressure, but it's just simply not the same.
Not the same at all. Also not the same here. We're down one more world champion. Moogie out for this 2025 campaign. Now there is only one person who can become a 3-time champion, and that is Mohamed Light. Of course, we'll be seeing some of him later today. Coming up next, though, we have another elimination matchup, a banger. Lucas and Ian, don't go anywhere. That's coming up soon.
God fucking Mega Knight, bro.
For me, the best part about competing in person is seeing my friends in the crowd celebrate.
Eu acho que a tensão, você ficar nervoso ali, se provar durante o nervosismo, acho que é uma das melhores coisas, com a adrenalina ali. Então, eu gosto um pouco.
Seeing the people you can only talk to for like the internet.
오히려 더 설레고요. 원래 오프라인을 제가 좋아하는 만큼 굉장히 팬들 앞에서 하고 싶었습니다, 그동안.
我觉得有观众最棒的部分就是有欢呼声和掌声吧。
Definitely hearing the crowd.
When you win and you hear everybody shouting and cheering for you, it's an incredible feeling.
A melhor parte de estar competindo ao vivo com todos os fãs é que você vê a torcida ali nas partidas, tem mais emoção também em você chegar ali e jogar e ver o pessoal torcendo para tal pessoa. Cara, é muito legal mesmo competir assim.
I don't even know yet, but I think I'm about to figure out because this is my first time playing it like in person on stage, but it's just really cool to see all the energy that the fans bring, and I'm excited to bring them a live performance for the first time.
観客の前でプレイすることはやはり普段歓声とかがないので、いいプレイをした時とかに歓声を上がるのがとても気持ちいいです。
Dar mi mejor nivel alante de ellos y que ellos aprecien el nivel que tengo.
Nothing, because I prefer playing from home, at home. I feel more comfortable and I don't like social media.
Do not let this guy start off game 1 with a win because he is gonna sweep it. This man is Lucas! Loved by the crowd and for good reason. He's a lovely dude, a swell guy, and Jack beyond belief, he is Ian!
Man, that home crowd loving to see Ian back on the stage, and it has been a day of sweeps so far, Juicy, for Lucas and for Ian, hoping that this is going to be the first one to go to game number 3 between these two players. And what we've seen from them today already, Juicy, what really stood out to you?
Man, I just loved how Ian was able to bounce back from a loss yesterday and stay composed and almost feed off the energy of the crowd. It's like he's using that to propel him forward.
Yeah, that was what we were talking about in that match. You know, he kept looking up at the crowd, and Josh and I were like, well, I hope he's not getting distracted by the crowd, but really harnessing the energy from them. And on the other side of it, and Lucas absolutely dialed in that matchup against Igor. It was played so clean. He was on top of every defense, no one to get aggressive. And these guys, I feel like, have met their final form here in World Finals 2025.
I know, this is my favorite match to watch. Both players coming off a win, feeling good. You know, they're in stride. They're working with Ian's working with his coach well. That's the other thing that I really loved about Lucas's gameplay is he's actually picking for himself, yet on stage, he doesn't let that get to him, and he really does a great job of making the right cards count.
So difficult to make that decision on stage. While it might feel like an eternity for us waiting for the next game to start, imagine all the mental gymnastics that you have to do in that small amount of time, figuring things out to get the absolute best matchup possible, and that is what you're going to want here. Talking about the predictions from chat, I hope you guys got them in. I'm very curious to see where this goes. I feel like it'll be slightly in favor. I was going to say of Ian. I was going to say like a 55-45 type situation, but Lucas, of course, being here as many times as he has at World Final, maybe giving him the edge.
Yeah, okay, let's go to see what I voted first. Ian. I'm going with Ian.
Okay, I'm curious. I was running up to stage. I don't know if they got my prediction in, but they did. You guys rock. I'm going Lucas X Gamer, the man with the best hair in the biz, and looking to see what Rich and Josh. I am the lone wolf here. I got to say, my predictions were atrocious yesterday, but I've been doing well today. You boys might be in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I picked Ian is, once again, he's feeding off the crowd really well. I know his coach, Ismail. He does a great job. They've been working well together. He told me that, Ian's coach told me that he worked for 14 hours last night in order to prepare for the potential matchups today.
I don't even know there was 14 hours between then and now, but Ian apparently has been grinding the whole time, and Lucas on the other side of it, I feel like he kind of got the jitters out. He's locked in now. When I talk to him backstage, he feels very comfortable, very confident, obviously very familiar with the live stage, but this is a very, very tough opponent in Ian. It's going to be one of those situations, while even though he had the predictions online, you imagine the crowd is going to be more responsive to positive moments from Ian rather than Lucas.
I know. But like what Josh said on stage, if Lucas is able to get that one game at the beginning, he's going to take that and he's going to make it a 2-0 sweep really quickly. So really anything can happen. This is a very close match, and I think the community predictions really showed that.
Juicy, when you were live on stage at WCG, did you have any moments where you felt like you were the underdog in terms of the crowd, or did you feel like they were always behind you?
Yeah, I definitely think there were some moments where, the crowd is going for another player, and it's definitely a really tough situation because you have to really find the motivation and discipline within yourself instead.
Well, let's see if Lucas can do that, knowing that this is a home crowd for Ian. Here we go, elimination match between Ian and Lucas. Who's gonna take it? Game number 1.
Log from Ian in an E-Spirit, maybe Hog Rider. Looking like he's going back to his bread and butter.
Like it, love to see it. Both these guys, we're gonna see Lucas playing Miner, Ian playing Hog. This is the type of matchup you wanna see, and Ian already with the emotes, but as you guys said before, those emotes don't really mean anything other than Ian's just doing what he does.
Right. Ice Spirit here will stop the Hog Rider. Will the Firecracker? No, it doesn't.
Oh, wow.
Okay, wow. The Hog just gets a connection, but the Firecracker does activate King. So Lucas is in a decent position going forward from here.
Perfect time to E-Spirit there to clean up the Royal Ghost, make sure it doesn't go invisible once again, but it is Lucas with the... Oh, excuse me, looks like these graphics are a bit swapped. Ian's on the bottom of the screen, Lucas at the top.
Hog inbound. Mine are doing a great job of defending.
And Hog trying to go on through. Stopped by the cannon. Lucas taking pause here. You imagine they've played this matchup against each other numerous times, maybe on ladder over the years, different versions of Miner Control. Oof. And bomb does not go off in time. You see Ian with a little bit of a smile there, wishing he could have got that damage.
Second Ghost of the game. Evo Ghost will be in cycle soon. a very common idea is to use that Evo Ghost on defense from the Hog to prevent Earthquake value and to get a counter push. We'll see if Lucas is going to be able to make that happen.
Sneaks the Hog right in front, pre-Earthquake for the Cannon. Hog Rider going to go through and get another shot in. So much spent. Bar Barrel, Cannon, Minions, doesn't matter. Ian breaks through once again.
I've played against Ian on ladder quite a few times, and this is always what it feels like. It seems like for some reason, his Hog Rider always just gets that final hit in.
It's the perfect timing, the early pre-Earthquake, knowing exactly how your opponent's going to respond, how much damage the units do, or the units that are in his hand, watching the cycle. And there we go. This is what you were talking about before, Juicy. The anti-Earthquake placement pushes it over with the Skellies. Firecracker not getting on top of tower there. 1941, Royal Ghost comes in, and Firecracker almost gets a shot off.
Okay, here we go. This is Lucas's chance to really strike back. Evo goes baiting out a lot of elixir on the left side. Miner trying to get some chip. And this is a really solid comeback from Lucas. It's just very even all of a sudden. Even Lucas taking lead.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ian's recognizing that Lucas is going to be able to defend as more elixir gets at his disposal. It's going to be so difficult to catch those miners over and over again, especially with that mighty miner. Sometimes you want to use it to protect the Hogs. Sometimes you need it defensively, as you can see right here, using it to protect that Firecracker.
Yep.
So now the miner going to be just a little bit harder to pick up.
And another Firecracker on the board, followed by another Hog. The Firecracker does not get hit by the Evo Cannon, but the Hog Raider push is successful in preventing too much damage.
And there you go, miner poison right off the gate. Doesn't have the ability to drop Skellies. Is Ian here? Lucas is taking the damage lead a little bit farther, and Ian knows this is a tough spot to be in. Lucas getting a great deck pick here. Again, coachless.
Firecracker trying to get on tower. I think, no, it doesn't. It doesn't get a single amount of chip. It does a little bit now, though. Ian's trying to make something happen despite Lucas's very solid Hog defenses.
And these minions are great because that Mighty Miner, you want to use the ability to take them off the board, but now instead not going to be a good tank at the bridge here. Although Hog getting a little bit of protection from the Mighty, Cannon going to clean things up, and now Lucas going right back on offense. Miner, Ice Spirit, Royal Ghost, Minions.
Slight misstep on the Evo Cannon, forcing the Firecracker to come out for the Minions. The poison does go down in case of skeletons, but Ian saves all of his elixir to try to make one final push here in triple time.
Yeah, Ian has to have a miracle happen here. Royal Ghost out on top of the Cannon, Minions, everything. And overspend doesn't matter when you have the lead, plus Miner Poison Juicy. Is there any way to turn this around other than a miracle or a misplay?
I think that it's possible. He needs to keep up the pressure, and he needs to have very cheap, effective defenses versus these Miner.
991, 883, Miner goes in. Firecracker to catch the Minions at the bridge. Mighty Miner at the bridge on the opposite side, most likely going to put a Hog behind. There it is. Early Earthquake, Cannon out of range. Great placement there from Lucas. Ian back in the lead, though.
Yeah, Ian back in the lead, continue to apply that pressure. Now a pre-poison plus Miner coming in hot. And Ian knows he can't defend. He decides to attack instead.
Hog does get pulled. Minions are there.
Oh my gosh.
Hog almost gets a hit.
Oh my gosh, it's so close. Another Hog inbound.
Need a way to stop this Hog. You need a way. There's the Cannon.
The Evo Cannon stalls enough. One more Miner inbound, and the poison is enough. Lucas, X-Gamer, takes game number 1.
And what a beautiful showing there. I mean, Ian known for playing Hog EQ, being the best in the world at it, but Lucas is another exceptional Hog Rider player. So you got to imagine when someone is playing your bread and butter against you, Juicy, you know exactly where they're at in their cycle, what they need to play next to break through. And Ian was always just, or I should say, Lucas was maybe like a half step ahead every time.
Yeah. I mean, even at the very end there, it seems like the Minions just staying alive a little bit longer, allowing the Hog defense to be a little bit easier with the Evo Cannon, and then focusing all of his elixir on making sure to get Miner and poisons on tower.
Yeah, Miner poison over and over and over again. Mighty Miner was never there to be able to catch that Miner because he was finding himself needing to use it on offense over and over again. And Juicy, is that strictly a matchup conversation? I mean, it was still very, very close.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at a matchup like this, we'll show you guys the deck here very shortly. The Earthquake for the Cannon, you might think, wow, okay, that's got to be good for Hog EQ. But the true case here is he has the Bar Barrel to control Firecracker. The Evo Ghost is the best evolution in the game currently. And also, Lucas just did a great job, like you said, understanding how Hog works, understanding when the pre-Earthquakes are going to come, and using the Skeletons and Ice Spirit to push the Hog over to the anti-Earthquake Cannon placements.
The Minions have been so exceptional all weekend long. Obviously, the increase in range, but just the inability to get on top of them so often. We saw that, like you just pointed out. Ian was struggling to get them off the board so his hog could break through, right? You get that little bit of extra DPS from the minions, all of a sudden that EQ early on the cannon doesn't really matter, and Lucas recognized that. And I also really loved his Ice Spirit minions pushes opposite side because it baited out the Firecracker where Ian didn't want it.
True. And then once again, this is why I just love Clash Royale League.
I know.
Because, you know, Lucas knows that the only way for Ian to clear the minions is with the Firecracker.
Yep.
So sometimes, not only reactively, but we saw predictive, skeletons to the bridge to block, predictive, Barbell over the river, to make sure those minions are good to go on DPS for defense.
And I gotta say, even though Lucas does take game number 1, it was still very, very close. Both these guys playing essentially perfect Clash Royale, Juice. And here we go. Game number 2 coming your way. Can Ian keep his debut alive, or will Lucas continue on in the lower bracket?
Man. Okay, Ian just going straight for the aggression. I like that. And we talked about yesterday, Goblin Hut, not really what you want to see defense-wise.
Yeah, not my favorite thing to run into a Goblin Hut, or I mean have a Goblin Hut for that. Mortar gonna clean it up pretty cleanly there. Gonna get some Goblins out to protect that Mortar, and now a Mortar shot is locked on the tower for at least a couple shots. AQ has to come down.
Okay, one shot is through though. And the Boss Bandit, will the ability, okay, the ability does get down from the Queen of Time, but this Boss Bandit is still very healthy.
This looks, it has pieces of the deck that we saw Mo run yesterday with Skeleton Barrel. We saw the Overwhelm that he put on against Sandbox. That was the game where Mo took 0 damage at all. The only person to do it at all yesterday, which was absolutely incredible. Lucas here. What are we seeing here at the bottom of the screen, Juice? What do you think?
I got you. I'm pretty sure it's going to be the drill. A lot of the time with Evo Snowball, you will see drill as the main win condition. Matchup-wise, I actually kind of like it for Lucas.
Yeah.
You know, if Lucas can get his cycle correct, have the Queen for the mortars, and as well as use the Valkyrie efficiently on defense, yeah, it's a really good shot. But Ian is trying to basically abuse the fact that his starting hand was bad and continue to apply pressure while his cycle's messed up.
Yeah, and this is the deck that we saw Mo run yesterday. I had a little bit of fun with it, of course, being a new mortar deck I haven't seen out in the world yet. The synergy between the Boss Bandit and the Skeleton Barrel is really interesting. We're going to see it right here. You usually want the barrel in front of the tank unit, but instead you can go Boss Bandit up front. You can use the ability, get the Skeleton Barrel in. Wow. And Boss Bandit goes a little too far back. High Berserker there. Nice play by Lucas.
Wow. Okay, the Fire Spirit is going to tank. Evo Valkyrie, wow. Oh my gosh, I keep saying wow, but this is just, this is so amazing. But really nice from Lucas to kind of delay on that Valkyrie to try to get more value out of it, and Ian kind of playing into his hand with that gang.
And we finally see the first little lick of damage come through against this deck. As we said, Mo took 0 yesterday, and now Ian just takes a little bit from that Evo Valkyrie.
And Evo Snowball is in cycle, so we are going to see that front drill placement, but Ian is on top of it. He waits, plays the Barbell instead, and prevents the Evo Snowball from getting any value.
I mean, Juice, that's a situation where you just got to hover, right? I mean, I know you want to predict, but then if you predict with the Evo Snowball, that's worse than having to use it on defense.
Evo Skeleton Barrel in cycle. Boss Bandit almost connects. Will Lucas have enough elixir?
And Boss Bandit dashes.
Wow!
With the Skellies! Boss Bandit at the bridge!
Lucas is low in elixir. He gets the Valkyrie down barely in time to stay in this match. But wow, insane pressure from Ian continuing to push the advantage.
The Boss Bandit is such an elixir leech when you talk about having to play against it, Juicy. If you don't defend it perfectly, you must get it down to stop that dash. And Lucas hasn't been able to get back on offense in about a minute. And now the mortar locks again.
The mortar is connecting, and the Boss Bandit is protecting. It's dashing every which way, and the mortar continues to send volleys at this tower. Boss Bandit connects.
We're getting our first game 3 of the day. Excellent play from Ian.
Wow.
The Boss Bandit, the mortar connects. The Boss Bandit protects. Absolute poetry from Juicy J up here in the booth. And Ian and this crowd are ready to go to game number 3.
I'm getting literal chills right now as I see Ian coming back from that game 1. The crowd just roaring with every mortar connection, with every Boss Bandit play. Unbelievable stuff from both of these players. And we're going to be looking at the decks here soon.
Yeah, Mo-Lite got to feel a little, him and Alan have to feel pretty good about that deck. It's been run twice today. Very little damage has come through. The pressure is just absolutely insane. You talk about having the E-Wiz to slow, stun, reset. It's such a great utility card. But then the rest of it all combined, the synergy of it is absolutely amazing. You get a late mortar down, Boss Bandit comes back and protects in front of it. As we talked about, Boss Bandit at the bridge, barrel behind. Boss Bandit takes for a second, uses the ability after the dash, then the barrel's tanking, then the Boss Bandit's taking for the skellies.
Yeah.
It's just absolute incredible synergy.
Yeah, okay, I do want to make a little asterisk in what I said earlier. So I didn't realize in game 1, you can see Lucas use poison, in minor poison. And for this drill deck, I assumed it was poison, but instead it was rocket. That rocket instead of poison really allowed Ian to continue to apply pressure, use his mortar and his Electwiz to his advantage. And Lucas really just couldn't control the mortar, even with the Archer Queen.
Yeah, it's one of those things when you are playing mortar and you pile everything up at the bridge playing against poison, that's a way to bait it out from being on top of your tower, but it completely stops your offensive push. That's something we were talking about in this game. We're going to see the replay here. Just no way for Lucas to get back on offense. You see there the dash into the hut, the barrel breaks, the high snowball misses, Bandit dashes on tower, tanking for the skellies, and then another Boss Bandit immediately. This is great by the replay booth, by the way. Thank you guys so much. Absolutely brilliant pull here and great plays from Ian. And even here, Juicy, it's still wreaking havoc.
I know. Yeah, you can see the Boss Man at the bridge with the mortar. That last mortar connection was what really sealed the deal for the game. And honestly, the craziest part of that whole interaction was after kind of the missed snowball in the skeleton barrel, Lucas tried to clean up with the Fire Spirit, but at 1 HP, the Boss Man took the Fire Spirit out, allowing for the skeletons to continue to connect on tower.
She's so tanky, she's so hard to control, and as I said, an absolute elixir leech. We saw it all throughout that entire game. If you do not lock it down instantly, if you do not have the perfect defense, or if they predict how you're going to defend, all of a sudden, you find yourself spending 2, 3, 4 more elixir than you'd planned, and just no way to get back on offense. Lucas is going to have to figure out how to do that. In game number 3, an elimination game, one of these guys will go home, and one will move on.
Ice Spirit the bridge for me, and he has not been waiting for his opponent in any of these games. Immediate hog, immediate mortar, immediate Ice Spirit the bridge. He wants to get in the gameplay. He wants to start figuring out what his opponent's using so he can begin to outplay.
Guards plus Ice Wiz could mean mortar.
Yeah, guards, Ice Wiz, E-Spirit. Mortar's an option. With the E-Spirit, it can be Grave.
I was just going to say, with the E-Spirit coming out.
Interesting. Yeah, Royal Giant then.
And Royal Giant going up against Control. We saw a similar situation. Look at Ian looking out at the crowd, talking to the crowd, literally in the middle of the match, talking to the crowd. This was a similar matchup to what we saw yesterday when we saw, it was the end of the day. Yeah, I think it was
Monk
Sam.
RG versus
It was Sam.
I think it was Sandbox, yeah. And the question is, does Lucas have the lightning? I think the lightning is definitely what you want in this sort of matchup so you can help break through those Teslas. And the fireball is just really not going to do the job.
So Ian going complete control here. Lucas going back to relative comfort, being one of the better RG players out there in the world. We'll see if he can figure out the equation to break through. Yesterday, Sam could not figure it out. Sandy played perfect D.
Delivery dropping down. Evil Ice Spirit just freezes everything. And that's why we saw Ian drop the Ice Spirit the bridge first play.
Yep.
Getting that Evil Ice Spirit cycle to time it perfectly for when the RG Evo will be there. He's able to really control the defense.
You don't know what to play, cycle your cheapest Evo. I learned that from watching Juicy J.
Shout out to Andrew, dude. Always making me smile on stage. And E-Spirit here going to continue to apply pressure. And I guess the biggest thing to I really think about here is if I'm Lucas, if I'm the RG player, how am I gonna break through? We really saw, Sandbox really lock it down in yesterday's game. And I think Lucas knows best, RG the back.
I was just gonna say, I think what you gotta try to do is start getting those double RGs out. Ian's gonna take that rocket damage, no problem here in single. 25-78, lowest tower on the board. Lucas getting a little bit more in with that Monk Reflection, bringing that tower down to 27-41, and a minor goes to the back. Yep.
Monk gonna drop. He wants to prevent any more rockets on tower, using that ability to his advantage. RG does get one hit from Lucas, starting to even up this match.
And a high Tesla here to maybe help support the Monk. And one of the things about losing that 3-card cycle is these RG decks, it's so much harder to get 2 RGs out on the board. And Evo RG coming in. Ian spending everything he can, but that RG does retarget.
Wow. Wait, the monk is
Testing
being
for the
tanked for.
monk.
The monk
And the
gets
monk's
the
on
power talent tower. That is game-changing damage. Even with the fireball to prevent breakthrough, he needed that to happen.
And a huge slap, I guess, from the monk. A chop. 2065.
Yeah, who knows?
2186. Ice was the
does
catch.
pick up the miner. Insane. Snowball's going to try to push everything away, and the miner does start to connect.
2034, 1985 to 2065, neck and neck. Lucas cycles his non-Evo RG to the left-hand side as another miner comes in. Guards close enough to turn around.
2 monks on the board now, trying to break through. Ice Wiz plus Log trying to get rid of the guards as well. This Evo Tesla continues to be a defensive menace.
And that delivery, I believe, hits the Ice Wiz and the RG. RG on the left gets a shot. Now RG on the right coming in. Evo RG, Tesla comes in just in time.
My goodness, we are heading into triple extra overtime. And 5
The guards! Oh!
Knight barely gets down for the guards. 3 Knights on the board for a split second. The Knight gets a little bit of chip here, and Lucas starting a monk in the back, once again trying to prevent rocket value.
1784, 2065. Lucas needs to make something happen in the next 50 seconds, but having a tough time doing it. Ian doesn't even need a rocket cycle.
Guard's a little bit late. That could be game-changing damage to the miner connecting. Lucas needs the double RG to break through. And wow, and he tries to predict the monk with the rocket, but he doesn't get it.
I don't know.
This is Lucas's time.
Yeah, maybe going for a little bit too much, but probably recognizing he can get back to that second Tesla, no problem. There it is. Now we need another RG, but Lucas can't find a way to break through.
Wow, another monk at the bridge. 20 seconds on the clock. We'll see another RG soon.
He's got to play defense on the left, Juicy. He can't just let it go. E-Spirit has to come down and the guards. He can't support the RG.
The rocket does too much damage, and there it goes.
Can he get the prediction? Can he get it?
Oh! The rocket does not go! It does not get deflected!
Almost gets it! Lucas knows he missed it by a split second! And he's sent home by a millisecond!
Oh my goodness! Ian in the crowd, erupting, ecstatic. The energy is there. The prediction from Lucas, literally a millisecond away from sending that rocket back to his opponent's tower.
And that is a moment that's going to keep Lucas up at night until CRL 2026. Absolutely astounding gameplay. AC, tell us what the fan favorite has to say.
Okay, congratulations on that. Wait, one more time. Give it up for Ian!
You got a rocket, Ian, you have the rocket.
Okay, obviously,
Yes!
that was
No.
the game of the tournament so far.
Yes!
It's about 30 seconds left, 10 seconds left. Talk to us about those final seconds.
Dude, honestly, those Evo RGs were so scary, man. Like, I knew I had a good matchup, but those Evo RGs, they kept on knocking back my guards, and I didn't have, like, a log to push back the RG. I had to put Snowball in there, but, you know, it worked out in the end. And, dude, I sent a prayer before I got on stage here, and that prayer might have overwrit that monk's prayer just in time, so.
It clearly worked out for you. I can't stress it enough. That was so much fun. Okay, talk to us. Was that fun to play or just for the viewers?
Oh, I mean, it was pretty fun to play. I was pretty nervous, you know, at the end, and like this one monk, it got like a shove on my tower. I put the knight a little bit to the side, but besides that, I'm really happy with how I played, and it was pretty nice. I didn't expect to do well after getting destroyed in game 1 with my main deck.
Yeah. But you were able to recover it. Congratulations again. Hey, one more time. Give it up. Good stuff.
And AC clearly is excited as everyone in the crowd barely able to ask those questions because he's so elated. You love to see it.
Yeah, we hear a huge chant in the crowd. I mean, this is unbelievable stuff. I still cannot believe that Lucas predicted the exact spot that he was going to send that rocket at the end. And it literally milliseconds away from the ability going on.
It's like the ability was there, but I guess it wasn't active yet by the time the rocket came down.
I gotta try that mortar deck. I have to. That deck is so good.
Talk me through this matchup. One thing I was going to mention, I'm so glad Ian did, was yesterday the log was a factor. Today it was Snowball. Obviously not as effective, but still able to get the job done.
I know. I completely agree. The log would be so much better in this matchup for Ian to deal with the guards to push the RG back, but he still utilized the slow from the snowball in order to gain just a little bit of an edge on the RG to prevent those connections left and right on tower. And then finally, the big thing to talk about here is the fireball. Lucas with the fire.
Real proud of you. Take a
Let's go! Let's go!
我觉得最能从观众身上吸收能量的选手应该是法老。
Diría que Mohamed Lai porque viene como candidato a ganar el título.
Chinese qualifier players, because I think they have the most passionate fans.
I don't know players much. I focus on myself.
That is probably OP Sam. I feel like he's the one that can take the biggest advantage out of this.
팬들한테 가장 인기 많을 것 같은 선수는 당연히 저인 것 같습니다. 그 부분에 대해서는 자신 있습니다.
O jogador que eu acho que vai se destacar, acho que vai ser o Ian, por ele, obviamente, estar jogando em casa. Então acho que o Ian.
やはりアメリカのイアン選手。
É o Ian 77.
Ian 77.
Either Mohamed Light or Ian. Ian with those big arms is pretty massive.
I mean, hopefully myself. I'll have to see, but I feel like I could drive the crowd to my advantage maybe. So we'll see about that.
57 top 10 finishes on ladder, 13 monthly final first places, and 2 world championships. You know who it is, Mohamed Light! Last year, this player at World Finals sent home a world champion. Today, he wants to beat another one. Put your hands together for Sub! And you might as well call these guys the untouchables because that's exactly what they were yesterday, AC. We saw Mo Light come out and just do some work there against Sandbox. Of course, I've mentioned it a couple times, the only person to not take any damage in any set game all day yesterday. And then Sub on the other side of it, while it wasn't quite as dominant, it still felt completely one-sided. Frontier Guard came out, you know, did everything he could. It felt like he was staying in it, and then all of a sudden it felt like halfway through each of the games, Sub goes, all right, I know what you're gonna do, I know how you're gonna defend it, and I know how I'm gonna win. And then he did exactly that. This is gonna be an exciting rematch of course, the Kalalis Gold Finals, where Mo 3-0'd Sub. Are you sad that I said that? Did I take that from you?
Yo, I know you didn't just talk to his coach. All right, I do have to give a special little shout out to Mohamed Light's coach. He's obviously a fantastic coach. I mean, he's been doing it for 3, 4, 5 years. You can hear him in the crowd whenever you'd like to. And yes, I mean, this is going to be an incredible set. Not enough respect given to Sub, but we have understood, we know at this point that he is one of those players that can stand against him.
2 number 2 monthly finals finishes, and of course a number 4 world finals finish. Doesn't quite stack up to 2 world final championships, and of course all the stats that Rich just dropped on stage. I mean, the the accolades continue to just impress year upon year, match upon match, tournament upon tournament. Mo Light just seems to be the golden child of Clash Royale, and he continues to hold that crown. And we'll see if Sub can get a little bit of revenge, but it's going to be really tough to do.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, whenever you see that Mohamed Light is even on your side of the bracket, you get upset. So I know you have to be you have to be upset about that. Let's take a look at the predictions because we need to see, there could be some different answers.
Yeah.
Probably not. 87% to Mohamed Light, 13% for Sub. I mean, it feels like it makes sense. Obviously, you're not going to be voting against Mohamed Light, but this really is a 70-30. Sub does have a chance.
Absolutely, Sub has a chance, and he's proved it time and time again. Like I said, in that Kalalis Cup Gold Edition, it was a 3-0 in the best of 5, so obviously trying to have a better performance than that. Let's see what we said here on the desk. Josh, what'd you go with?
What did I go with? I went with Mohamed Light. Okay, and Andrew, what did
I
you
imagine
go with?
I probably went with about the same thing. I'm thinking Juicy and Rich did the exact same. Look, we all know that Sub could win this match. It's just you never bet against Mo. It never really works out. Other than what we've joked about in the past, maybe the first match of the tournament. But then even then in the lower bracket, he can always go on a run. Sub's a guy, though, that is able to keep the nerves contained. He's a guy that's very calm, cool, collected. We saw that yesterday, and it really worked out well against someone that was as aggressive as Frontier Guard. Now you need to do it against the person that knows when to be aggressive, when to be defensive, and has every interaction in the game locked down better than anyone else that's ever played the game.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to make a Clash Royale quiz with like 100 of the hardest interactions that only the top 0.001%, you just know Mohamed Light's getting 98 out of 100. He's getting that A+ every single time. Obviously, one of the most brilliant players, one of the most talented players. And let's get into our first game, Sub, Mohamed Light. Game number 1.
Day 2, can Sub pull off the upset? It's gonna be tough.
Mohamed Light, the inventor of wall breakers, split behind the King Tower, and that's what we're going to see. I think he introduced that in one of the other World Finals. It's just one of those things. He'll find stuff that nobody else is willing to.
And really like to see Momo go on control here. It looks like it's going to be kind of a mirror matchup, and Mo already getting some good damage on tower. You can see that's already getting in Sub's head.
Yeah, Sub quite annoyed that he was giving up that damage. The Mighty Miner walks incorrectly, and it allows the opposing Mighty Miner for Mohamed Light to get some chip damage on the tower. Somewhat big push, but Mohamed Light is going to clean that up easily and only take a few hundred damage.
And this is incredibly similar, if not the exact deck that Mo was able to go 80 and 4 in 4 separate 20-win challenges. He did it with the Ice Wiz, Evo Skelly's Miner Wall Breakers control deck. And that's going to be a nice ability there from Sub, and a nice kite as well.
Yeah, gorgeous play from Sub. He's obviously very, very talented. Gets the right pop from the Mighty Miner, and then distracts with the wall breakers. Perfection from Sub.
23-28 to 28-56. Mo Light firmly in the lead. Not happy about how close that Mighty Miner is because of that right there. A bit of a waste of a Goblin Hut, but still going to require a response.
And we see him give like a slight smile just because he knew that the right Spear Goblin was going to go in front. It was going to allow the left Spear Goblin to get a little bit of chip. It just immediately he understood what he was seeing.
Well, they know who's boss. And Sub goes to the back here. Completely uncontested Miner. See if Mo wants to punish back.
A very beautiful prediction right there. The bar barrel as well. You know that Mohamed Light was just ready for that, but those minions are going to clean up nicely. I mean, even though he got predicted, it really wasn't the end of the world.
And we see Mighty Miner in the back, cycled on the left-hand side. Now, Miner goes to the inside with the poison. That is an exceptional poison. Taking out the Evo Skellies, taking out the Goblin Hut, and now we find Sub in the lead. First time so far in this game.
Yeah, Miner distracting the Spirit Goblins, having them set up on the right side, and Minion was able to take that out with the hope of the poison, and right there, late pop of the ability, but it's going to work. It's going to kill the minions.
Evo Skellies come in, poison on top for Mo here. Clean everything up, 1927, and they're just going to play this game back and forth. Wall breakers, though, uncontested. Does the bomb go off in time? It does. Mo happy about that. You can see a little smile and nod to himself.
Yeah, you hear the crowd erupt as well. Nobody was really sure what was going to happen right there.
I mean, the crowd, in this crowd, there are hundreds of thousands of hours of Clash Royale played, and you're watching a guy that is a magician, a surgeon at work.
And right here, I mean, after the slow start for Sub, after taking 500 damage, he is now taking the lead. Sub has done a brilliant job of getting himself back in this game.
Mighty Miner ability, Evo wall breakers behind, and it doesn't, he messes up the sequencing. This is what I'm talking about. Sub can always stay in it. He looks not shaken by that Mighty Miner in the very beginning. And as you were just saying, AC, he's been able to bounce back this entire game and now is firmly in the lead in a mirror match.
Yeah, the difference between the Cannon and the Goblin Hut has been instrumental to his success. I mean, the Goblin Hut, it's just too bulky. He's not able to get it properly. Another Mighty Miner, I mean, that time he gets it brilliantly, but 1455 forces out a response from Sub, and you know him, Mr. Consistent. He's not messing up that interaction.
Yep, you know he's on top of those skellies, not going to get overwhelmed by other things going on the board, keeping up the pressure. Wall breakers don't get in front of the bar, but Mighty Miner comes over on that side, has to turn around anyway. 1455, 689, Sub in control.
Right there, Barbell going to be able to clean up the Ice Wiz nicely. Minions in tow going to be able to clean up the Miner as well. So 689, he needs just a little bit more damage before he can start going poison, poison, poison.
Mo putting some pressure on that right-hand side, baits out a Mighty Miner, uses the ability, then goes opposite lane. 542, 1308. Sub catches the Miner.
Sub, all the elixir in the world, he's able to get the cannon down in time, going to be able to stop those wall breakers. And here we go. This is where it starts. 30 seconds left. He's going to go Miner, poison, cycle.
427, 1026, 24 seconds remain. Sub just needs to not make a huge mistake here. Mighty Miner getting kited back on the left-hand side. Poison down early, cannon up high. Mo Light just out of reach, AC, in game one.
Yep, Miner, poison, Miner chipping away, gonna get the tower down to 47. It's over. Sub taking game number one, trying to upset
Mohamed Light in the crowd with some mixed reactions here. Not sure what really happened. Obviously happy to see a great game, but a lot of them probably rooting for Mo Light.
Yeah.
Sub locked in, dialed in, makes a mistake early on. AC, you've been a pro player. It was some time ago, but you still know the feeling when you make a mistake that early on against someone that good. How do you bounce back the way that Sub did?
Yeah, I mean, you have two ways to go. The first way, which is the way that I often did, was panic, not continue to make those mistakes. But then you have that second one, and that's what really separates these pros. Yes, I made a mistake, but look, I have the cannon, he has the Goblin Hut. How do I use that to my advantage? I can cycle. I can do all the right things. I mean, every single placement was perfect. He was getting predictions on the Evo Skellies. He was just so in control of what his opponent was going to respond with. It felt like that was just it felt like that was Mohamed Light on the other side. He just knew what he was going to do.
I couldn't agree more, and I loved the use of the Mighty Miner from both players. The early cycled Mighty Miners to catch Miners, to use it to take out wall breakers. There was such great predictive gameplay, but Sub was just a couple steps ahead one time. Mo messes up the sequencing, and the double wall breaker evolution connects, and that was where the game was blown wide open.
Yeah, I mean, those Mighty Miners had 3 jobs every single time they were placed on the map. You had to take out the Miner, then you had to pop the ability to get the wall breakers, then you're trying to protect your wall breakers, and so that's why the cannon was so powerful, because you just need that cycle. You need to get to the next card, you need to get to your next Mighty Miner.
And obviously not a 100% mirror match, but very, very similar there, and it's those small pieces that really do make the big difference, whether it's something like Minions, the Goblin Hut, the cannon, and then really taking advantage of recognizing the position that it puts your opponents in, and then taking advantage of that, and we saw Sub do that time and time again. And just an excellent showing in game one, and I love that he comes out and runs that deck, right? Yep. Mo, that's basically his favorite deck in the game right now. Sub comes out and goes, I'm not scared. You want to do a Miner Poison mirror match? I'll meet you there on the hill, brother.
It's just so impressive. I love that deck choice from him in game number one. Obviously, have to give a shout out to his coach, his team, because, I mean, they are a unit. They are a squad together.
Yeah, and just getting ready here for game number 2, just about to go underway. Can Sub pull off a sweep against the GOAT, or will Momo bounce back? Here we go, game 2. And that is a look that we know well from Mohamed Light. We've seen it any time basically that he's lost, where he is locked in that next game.
Right there, perfect timing with the log. That 100th of a second, it's always, you just don't know what's going to happen. But right there, just perfection. Don't know what's going to happen.
Drill tears throughout the competition. Can't imagine Mo will make that mistake more than once, if even that.
Whew. And the Hunter takes out all the goblins with the help of the Royal Ghost, and that's going to force out more and more of a response. Tesla plus Berserker that cycle. You need to break out.
And the double wall breaker evolution connects, and that was where the game was blown wide open.
Yeah, I mean, those Mighty Miners had 3 jobs every single time they were placed on the map. You had to take out the miner, then you had
locked in that next game.
Enough DPS still. It's over.
I run. No, almost take more to be scared. And that's our defense. Everything about that was absolutely.
This couldn't work out more.
Game.
It's more.
No, it's not massive death. To think comfortable around some mode. You can see that, and because we go like go here is count now. We get produce one.
I don't think
Evo bomb here in game 71st came out going
the Goblin Barrel for a ton of damage. Summer in response. And that's gonna do
with that log, but instead Mo goes with the better route and two spirit. Soaks up the armor, goes out.
The tower. No chip to eval.
Is having gobbling again. And the guards come down last second. You heard a couple gasps there in the crowd. High Ghost making sure that Golden Knight can't get on top of tower. Inferno getting a little bit scary. And a beautiful cleanup here from Sub. At most takes a couple shots and a dash.
I mean, that was perfection. Muhammad like thought that the game was over. Half the crowd thought, okay, maybe it was just me, but the Inferno Dragon was...
It was scary close.
It was scary, beautiful Ice Spirit. The Inferno Dragon was on to the wrong card. The Ice Spirit, that's the Inferno Dragon's charge.
And another
the Inferno Dragon
and another, but we all know E-Giant can take a game in a moment. One good push, a nice NATO, a good lineup with the Evo Bomber, a Golden Knight connection. So many ways for Mo to take this game. He goes guards opposite. I like that. No good way to stop him. Barrel in, Tombstone high.
Yeah, that's what Muhammad Light was trying to do earlier. The Bomber placed perfectly right there. Beautiful Golden Knight dash. The MVP for Sub so far has been these Dark Goblins. It's just getting so much value.
Guards once again to distract. Royal Ghost up high. Momo's running out of time and options. Sub goes barrel right into the back here.
No,
and the Golden Knight goes backwards. A gift from the Clash Royale gods. Is that what Mo needs to turn this around? High Inferno. Beautiful. Fireball in.
Beautiful fireball right there. Goblin Hunt to take the E-Giant into the middle. Guards are going to be low, but the Bomber's going to be able to help out. Needs the Ice Spirit reset, and he's going to do that again.
Wow.
We keep hyping up all these maybes from Muhammad Light, but Sub on the other side, he's just doing it. He's got it done.
Perfect interactions from Sub time and time again. Resetting the Inferno, getting the guards down last second. Royal Ghost up high to stop the Golden Knight charges. Everything is so clean, but it just takes one. 33 seconds remain. Double barrel in.
Gets the prediction with the Golden Knight, gets the left tower safely, but this Inferno Dragon is going to do nothing. 26 seconds left. He's going to be able to have another... he has another HUD. I don't think Muhammad Light has a shot.
I don't think there's any way. Goblins get on top of tower again. Not within fireball range. Guards up high to block. Dark Goblin down low. Dark Goblin down low, that should get on tower! The Golden Knight's on tower, but there's not enough time! And Mo Light is gonna have to repeat a lower bracket run to be the first and ever 3 times